and 13 without Buxton, but it also tells me they need to have that big acquisition, say in the rotation, that can stop multi-game skids like Johan did back in 2006. Fair point, but the part that stood out for me in that is 6 and 13 without Buxton. I mean, he is what he is. You don't want to change his game, but man, that game does put him in some perilous positions as he screams through the outfield and crashes into walls and stuff like that, and then dives face first to make some amazing catches and hits his face in the ground like he did the other day. I mean, as good as he is, and I don't, Tony, you know baseball better than me. Obviously, his speed and range in center is an asset, but if he played left or right, does that reduce the injury possibilities just by virtue of the position?
I don't see it. I don't see it. The problem is you can't shut it off. Like, you can't turn Buxton off. You
don't want him to.
Right. It'd be like asking Parisi not to go to the front of the net. Like, you're not going to do that, and he's not going to do that, right? So you can't change his wiring, and moving him to a different spot isn't really going to change things, because there's probably more walls to run into in right field or left field, depending on the park, than there is in center field, So maybe he wouldn't have as many collision opportunities with his other, but I don't know. Like, I just don't see that changing at all. And I don't know what you could do to change it. Like, unfortunately, the guy's injury prone. Unfortunately, he tries to run through a wall once a week. Like, I don't know what you can do to change that, and you don't want to, but you also need him on the field. So what do you do?
Mike, does that make you feel like going back to talking about trading from positions of strength, that you want to maybe you would protect an outfielder over a middle infielder, for example, because you know that Buxton's going to play in a way that he's going to get dinged up throughout the season, and you want to have some depth there?
I don't know. I mean, for this season, maybe, but I'm not. Then again, I'm not trading one of my top guys for a depth outfielder, knowing Buxton could come back, and then where's that guy going to go anyway?
Right.
I mean, I'm willing to, maybe trade like a middle tier guy, but I thought we had a lot of depth, where we essentially may have a lot of outfield prospects, because we've drafted a lot of like big hitters that are probably going to have to play first base or outfield, but I don't think they're ready yet.
Well, we don't have a lot of we don't have another Buxton in the organization. I mean, Kepler's as close as you might have. I mean, Kepler would probably be an above average defensive center fielder, but then your right fielder's now your right fielder's average, right? And there's something to be said for the outfield defense they have now keeps people off of second base, and that's a pretty important part of baseball. So I don't know that I would mess with it until you maybe have to, but it is what it is.
I mean, it's 150 games or 140 games or whatever of Buxton, playing better than, I mean, that's the opportunity cost, right? That analysis is are we better off with 140 games with him than 170 games with a lesser player?
Yeah, I think you're better off with Buxton.
Yeah.
Even if it's 120 games, you're probably better off with Buxton in that situation.
Right. He also brings in more in base running and like that too with his speed.
Yeah, and he doesn't get thrown out when he steals. He just doesn't happen.
Turning a one-hop bloop to center field into a double, that kind of thing.
Right. Yeah.
Which is ridiculous. But which is Buxton. All right, so Scope, Buxton, the studio. I mean, I'm kind of glad that they've had the injury bug lately, because hopefully that means that they don't have to go through it later. But boy, oh boy, it's been a lot of little things, right? And Crone just came back, and other than a couple of blisters, thankfully it hasn't hit the rotation much. But I don't know if this is like a fates kind of thing, but I kind of feel like, all right, I'd rather have this rash of injuries in around the All-Star game than in September.
Without a question, yeah.
Absolutely.
I think it might help too because I think Arraez should be your starting second baseman. He's better defensively, and I think he's hitting better than Scope. So, that's my opinion. Just watching it, I think he's your second baseman for sure. He's your second baseman next year.
Mm-hmm.
But
Scope's on a 1 year, right?
Yeah, as far as I know, he is. I don't know if there's options or anything in there, but I mean, I just think the way they've been playing now, he's got to be your guy. I don't know if Scope just gets his job back or what, but I wouldn't give it to him back. Wally Pip him.
That's a good problem to have, though.
Yeah, it is. It's a great problem to have. I mean, when's the last time they had that at second base? That particular problem.
Right.
Have they ever? I mean, really, that's they're still sitting pretty there in general. So no, I don't. I mean, I'm gonna be in the cities in August, and I'm definitely gonna try and catch a game, and really looking forward to it. But also, I mean, I obviously Oakland's playing okay right now, and until we prove otherwise, the Yankees still pretty much own us. So I mean, I love these measuring stick series, and hopefully that helps them focus. But man, they keep crushing home runs. I think I read that Garver just became like the 6th player on the team this year to hit 15, which ties them with the Cubs this season, and maybe is a team record. I saw something like that. But I mean, any team home run records that you hear about, it can't surprise you given how many damn home runs they're hitting right now.
I love hearing all the pitchers whine and complain about how juiced the balls are. Like, come on. Good gravy. It's entertaining. Just don't hit the bat when you pitch it. It's easy.
Right.
You win 70% of the time, and then you're going to complain when somebody squares one up and hits at 450. Come
on. Mike, All-Star Game. Did you watch it?
I did not. I personally don't really get into any of the All-Star games very much. I mean, baseball used to at least have meaning.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I always agreed with that either, but yeah, I didn't see any of it. I did hear that what's his name from the Blue Jays went berserk in the home run derby.
He did. Vlad Jr.
Yeah.
Well, I don't remember the number, but it was something.
I think it was 29
stupid.
In the first round.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
I only know that because, 10 minutes before he went on, I think it was the Texas Rangers social media person, tweeted out, good luck beating Hamilton's. And then Vlad Jr. goes ahead 5 minutes later and beats it.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those epic, this didn't age well tweets.
Yeah.
Tony, are you okay with the format for assigning the All-Star Game teams?
I mean, it's always going to be a popularity. I don't know any other way to do it. I'm a bigger fan of the home run derby and the skills kind of thing than I am the games themselves. Mm-hmm. But I mean, what other way can they do it? Are they going to have players vote? Then the fans will be upset. They're not going to ever have media vote. They already get the Hall of Fame. And they screw that up plenty. So, I don't know that you can do it any other way. Do I like it? No. But did the Twins deserve more than a couple All-Stars? Absolutely. Yeah. But what do you do?
Does every team need to have a representative?
I don't think so. No. This is sports. This isn't everybody gets to play. This is the big leagues. You're either good enough to play or you're not.
Yeah. That's the one thing, a change I think they can make.
I mean,
that would make sense.
Right. You start when you get to high school, then you know that you have to be good enough to make the team to play. Why would we change it for the Major League Baseball All-Star Game, the pinnacle of things?
It's called an All-Star Game.
Everybody gets to play.
Yeah. No. It's called an All-Star Game. It's not some good players and some guys we sort of feel bad for. That's ridiculous.
Because the other thing is a lot of times the guys don't play.
Right.
Now I did go back and watch Brios pitch to Baez, and that was an insane. Yeah, that was fun. And Brios was throwing friggin' frisbees. Like, he was nasty. So he should pitch to his buddies all the time because that was just dirty. So,
did you hear the Mike Freeman, the Braves player, mic'd up in the first inning?
I did not, but I've heard it's gold.
It is awesome. It's and I tweeted at the time that I would take an entire game of mic'd up players, just listening to them batter, like batter bantering with the catcher. Way a million years before I needed to listen to another Joe Buck game. It was great. It was great. It was so. And then at one point they had, I don't know, like all the outfielders from one of the teams are on, or maybe Cleveland.
Yeah.
And they had them all mic'd up, and they were giving each other, grief. It was great. It was so entertaining.
Well, I think, I don't know if society could handle it, but having them mic'd up during the season would be fantastic. Like, if you go back and look at like old Earl Weaver arguing with the umps, it is comical. Like, you'll be in tears laughing. It's not for kids to hear. Like, it's not clean. It's not PC, none of that, but it is so funny listening to him and the umpire go back at each other. And if you could get some of that, like, even if you could pay like $10 a month during the season to get access to the mic'd up version or something, but I just don't see players ever agreeing to that, because some of them would be in trouble, but it would be gold. I heard though Verlander in that at bat didn't he strike him out on 3 pitches looking?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, Freeman didn't have a chance on any of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mike, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, I was just, before Tony even said that, I was thinking, like, if they did like an NFL Sunday Ticket type thing, but just like ESPN just did like a sports channel where they had mic'd up stuff, they could make a fortune.
Mm-hmm.
But, right, I don't think the players may not agree. But I mean, even in hockey, like watching videos of the back and forth stuff is just hilarious.
Yep.
And the guys talking to each other. And I mean, if you think about a lot of the things a lot of these players could say to each other, they do it hilariously clean.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, it's got to be a skill, because I would like my talking would be like insulting in some way, but they keep it clean. It's gold. Yeah,
no, I agree. I love that. I like the best chirps compilation videos on YouTube and whatever. Awesome. And you're right. The majority of them are clean.
Yeah.
Clean as in not like
no, not like F-bombs and stuff
or anything like that. Yeah. It's obviously digs, but it's clean digs for the most part.
Yeah, I agree. That's good stuff.
Only because I brought it up, the Earl Weaver part is not clean whatsoever. So if you're looking for that, like, don't search that. But if you're looking for something funny, Earl Weaver's fantastic.
All right, we'll let you off the hook on that one. Well, you guys, either of you have any plans to get out to Target Field anytime soon?
I do not. It's just my summer is getting away from me, so I do not.
Yeah, I think I'm going with a group from work the first or second week of August.
Cool.
We're going to head out and check out a day game.
Nice. Love day baseball. Love day baseball.
Yeah, the only problem is this parking in Minneapolis down there on day games. If you don't get there early, it's a disaster.
How many you got going?
What do you mean? Oh,
how many are going with your group? Yeah.
30.
Call the Minneapolis Farmers Market. A lot of times you can rent parking down there, and then they'll give you a grill and like a table for a few $100. If you got 30 of you to split it, you bring your own beer, your own brats and burgers, and then you can walk right there from the game. It's just down by 94. I think it's the Farmers Market Annex, or forget the actual name of it, but it's really, really cool.
Oh, that'd be sweet. Yeah.
It is a few $100, but if you got 30 people splitting it, you're golden.
Right. Yeah, I'll definitely bring that up.
Yeah.
And light rail is not an option for you, Mike?
No, it is. It just it's just hard sometimes, like, because it takes 45 minutes, so it just takes leaving work even earlier when you're already leaving.
Yeah.
Super early for work on a normal day,
Yeah.